Okay, recently had an interesting request. Somebody asked if it would be possible to have the bind or trainer switch activate the hold mode on the Cortex. After playing with it a little bit, I figured out how to do it using a DX9. The DX18 uses the same software, so all you would need to do is the same instructions on a DX18. So I have the same setup that I usually use for a DX9, where I have 5 flight modes and the Cortex. So if I move here,
Flight mode 3.
Cortex is off.
Flight mode 5.
Cortex is in hold mode.
Flight mode 3. Flight mode 1. Flight mode 2.
So my flight modes 1 and flight modes 2 are with the Cortex in rate mode, so it has little to no expo.
Flight mode 1. Flight mode 3.
Flight modes 3.
Flight mode 4.
Flight mode 4 is the Cortex off with normal expo that you would have on the model.
Flight mode 5.
And flight mode 5, due to the way that the DX9 and DX18 work, is 100% dual rates, no expo.
Flight mode 4. Flight mode 2.
So, as I'll demonstrate right here, if I press my trainer switch, you see the Cortex goes into hold mode. As soon as I let go, it goes back into rate mode. If I'm flying with it off, I press the button, it still goes into hold mode. Let go, Cortex goes off.
Flight mode 5.
In this flight mode 5, with the Cortex in hold mode, nothing is happening. How this is accomplished
Flight mode 2.
is you have to use a mix. So we're going to go into the menu here. I'm going to go into mixing. I'm going to set up a mix, a custom one. In this case, it's auxiliary 2 to auxiliary 2. This is due to the fact that on this setup for my radio, I have the auxiliary 2 as the control port for the Cortex flight mode. Then what you're going to do is you're going to come in here. First you have to change this to, it will say normally inhibit. Let me get it to what it'll look like. So this is what it'll look like. You'll come down to a custom mix. You'll say inhibit, inhibit, inhibit. You're going to go in. You're going to choose normal. I'm going to go to, in my case, auxiliary 2 to an auxiliary 2 mix. If you have the Cortex control mode set up on your gear output, you just change this from gear to gear. And come down here, choose the switch, press the bind switch, and then I'm going to take the rate and I'm going to drive it out. If I push the bind button, you'll see that auxiliary 2 is changing in value. So we're going to drive it all the way out to 125. And as you'll see, it's still not quite there. The Cortex is lighting up green in hold mode, but you can see the channel output's like barely there for gain in 12. How you fix that is you come in here and you give it more offset. You give it offset until you get it to the rate, the value that you wanted originally for your hold mode that you were doing without getting any wag or oscillations. So in this case, as an example, I used the Cortex in the rate mode with 70 for the servo travel, and then
Flight mode 5.
50 for the hold mode. So now, when I press the bind trainer switch, you can see auxiliary 2 is going from 70 to 50. Negative 70, 50. And you can see on the Cortex is going from rate to hold. And this works regardless of whatever flight mode you're in.
Flight mode 1. Flight mode 2. Flight mode 1.
Whatever
Flight
condition the
mode 3.
Cortex is in.
Flight mode 4. Flight mode 3. Flight mode 4. Flight mode 3. Flight mode 1. Flight mode 5.
The only exception is flight mode 5. As you can see here, auxiliary 2 isn't doing anything. It's just staying at 50.
Flight mode 1.
So that is how you set up the Cortex so that you can do hold mode on a momentary switch. So you can throw it into a quick hover, press the switch, let go of the switch, and it'll dump back into rate mode and allow you to fly out. Thank you very much.